All right, welcome all you Christmas shoppers. There's only 11 days left until Christmas Day. So if you do Christmas Eve, that would be 10. Interesting because we're at that time of year. It's December 14th. We have a beautiful, beautiful day here. We haven't seen the sun in probably a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks at Mequon. And you just start to realize that as you get to be about that 2 week time frame, realizing I don't think I remember what the sun looks like. At any rate, for the rest of you that are around the world, I just want to make sure, or the US, I should say, that you guys are having a wonderful day as well. So my go big today or beginning gratitude is festive season, seeing all sorts of people dressing up as an elf, literally Buddy the Elf for last weekend or for a weekend or two ago. Also for a party recently as well, people have been requesting me to show up as Buddy the Elf, which is quite odd. There's a story behind that if anybody else wants to tell it at some point in time. But it's really just holiday festive cheeriness. So how about Ken? How about yourself?
Well, thank you, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Great to be here with you all. Mine, twofold. Number one, as I reflect back on this year, I know it's not over yet, but as I reflect on what's already happened this year, I just want to say thankful for all of you that are listening right now, all of you that will be watching this or listening to this at some point in time in the future. We really truly have a wonderful group of clients, very kind to us, very nice to us. We very much care about your life, and in turn, you very much care about our life, and we appreciate that. So it's very much a two-way street, and we love helping you. We love guiding you. And also the second part of my gratefulness is to go for all the volunteers of coaching, all the parents that spend their time coaching. It is a commitment. It is a time away from your own family to do that. And so there's a lot of parent volunteers right now that are helping a lot of youth kids excel in sports right now. So I'm just really grateful for that. That's in the community.
Thank you, Ken. Sometimes it's called babysitting. Just kidding.
That is true. Herding cats.
Exactly. No, thank you as well. How about let's go with Zach. How about Zach? How about yours?
Thank you, Chris. As you mentioned at the beginning, right when we logged on about Christmas shopping, that's really my go big here. I had the opportunity to adopt a family through the Journey House to provide a Christmas for them. And what I'm really grateful for is the flip of mindset of being at Kohl's last Sunday, and the line for the checkout was completely around the store. And as you're going through and kind of totaling things up, it's like, look at what we're spending. And then it was about a 15-minute in that mindset. And all of a sudden it was like, this is what we get to give to somebody that maybe never had a Christmas or never will get these type of things. So instead of getting the maybe lower cost one, let's get this 3-year-old boy the nicest Spider-Man shirt we can find. So just extremely grateful for the flip of mindset. And really it stems from all the gratitude and the teachings that we receive here, which I'm extremely grateful for.
Awesome, Zach. Thank you very much. How about Michael?
Chris, I actually got to give some gratitude to my uncle, who I was named after, my uncle Mike. He was born disabled, and he outlived his life expectancy by about over 20 years. He never gave up. He always truly, he made the most of everything that he ever had, and taught me that that's what you need to do, and you can bring yourself happiness in life. So my gratitude goes out to him. He passed away peacefully this morning, and we are extremely grateful to have had him in our lives.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate that as well. That's outstanding. I really do. So today we're going to do a few different items. There's a lot that goes on right now. It's been a year that's been quite interesting. You all know it's been inflation, COVID, the triunal of pandemic, if you will. It's been market correction. It's been bear market at the same time. There's a lot of prognostication for 2023, which is a big word for people trying to forecast what 2023 will look like. The one thing I got to repeat and remind you is we have no idea, nor does anyone else. They may just not know that. So the interesting part for myself here is when I start, I like to get up in the morning, love to have breakfast. And I got to ask you a question. What does snowmen eat for breakfast? Anybody here know? Frosted Flakes. At any rate, I knew I had to throw a dad joke in there. I haven't done one in a little while, but that's a good one for little kids because they'll appreciate it. For you older kids, I know you had a groan, but that's exactly my elicited response. I wanted that. So thank you, by the way. Going through today, I wanted to just touch on a couple of different ideas. First of all, very few people succeed by themselves. So that starts today. Let's call it support. Let's call it team. It's the basis for gratitude. So if you look at most people who've been successful, who like to claim all the victory, let's say the Michael Jordan, best player of basketball in history, Giannis, you'll find some of these people actually, especially in Giannis's case, be very, very complimentary of the team he has around them. Pro golfers are often that way. You might see Tony Robbins as this guru. By the way, he can't operate without about 10 or 12 of his team that help him on a daily basis. If you look at it as well, if you're a Christian, Jesus had how many disciples? 12. He couldn't get from town to town. He didn't eat unless they brought him food many times. So as I look at this, it's a very important thing to understand that any success that occurs should also be, and probably even more importantly, be doled out to other people. So my team here, there's myself and there's 11 others. The 11 others, I'd say there's 11 people and there's the other, which is myself. Does that make sense? I want to make sure you understand that, because the deliverables that we have here at this firm are really delivered by 11 people, and some of them are by me. I really appreciate what they do. I'm grateful for everything they do on a daily basis, because without that, it makes what we do almost unable to function. So I can realize that when somebody's out for a day, or when they're sick, they're gone, they're on vacation, you realize how much you miss them. So I just want to make sure that you're lifting somebody up in that case as well. Lift up those who are responsible for some of the results that you may get credit for. I think that we tend to get quite self-centered during a lot of this. I really work not to be. So I'm going to call it arrows out. As much as you can, try to help others. It's my favorite new radio station is WIIFM. Wrong. It's WIIT. WIIFM. What's in it for them. Living life that way is difficult to do because it's not how we're taught. But if you can really look at others and how you can help them in some form, it changes the day from complaining about things that are not happening right for you to looking how to help others with the issues that they have. A massive change. So it's what we do here. It's what we try to do with you as clients. It's what we try to do with here as teammates. I just think sometimes we want to make sure we retain focus on that and refocus on what's going on. And so what's going on today here, it's going to be, we'll have Mike's Minute, we'll have Zach's Facts, and we'll have Ken's Corner, spelled with a K, by the way, which I think is quite funny. I just think it's very appropriate and it's funny. We'll tell you why a little bit later. But first of all, let's do Mike's Minute. Mike, what's going on in the world of investment? We had some trades this last weekend, and I know you might want to just illuminate some of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we took care of a couple trades, a couple opportunities that we saw within the core portfolio to make a couple upgrades and to just change course a little bit when it comes to what the market is offering us. Due diligence has been done throughout the course of this year as we've watched how things have kind of come to fruition. And we felt that it was a great time to add a little bit more stability in the fixed income portion, which is something that we're excited about. It's been a long time, and I know Zach in particular will never be excited about bonds, but we finally have a little bit of yield, a little bit of interest that you can get, a little bit more stability when looking at it from that way. And the strategy leading into this year, it worked out, thankfully for that, and we were able to move into something that'll hold some stability. So we'll see what the Fed does a little bit later today. The anticipation is 50 basis points. People think that the consensus is that they're going to start to lighten up a little bit. Consumer price index was a little bit lower, beat expectations coming into this month. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Thank you. There we go again, thinking what people will do in the future. I don't know if you guys know people at all, but people are wildly unpredictable. I'm not sure if you guys deal with people or not, but I just want to make sure that those who do deal with people, they are wildly unpredictable. And I love them. It's part of what makes life interesting, right? You never know what's going to happen. Mike, thank you for that as well. There's some massive changes in fixed income rates. Maybe Zach will talk about that as well. But for even some of the shorter term things, recently, I think one of the competitors around here had sent around a flyer with some interest rates for CDs. If you're interested in some shorter term money, let us know. I actually didn't realize how competitive some of the stuff from Raymond James Bank were, and a few of the different money markets that we have as well available to us. But if so, I want you to inquire about those. I don't want to give you rates because that will be stricken from our broadcast, but I want to let you know that there are some interesting rates going on as well. With that, I want to pass this over to Zach for Zach's Facts. Tell us exactly what's going on. Get it? Exactly what's going on.
I love it. That was always how I could tell I wasn't paying attention in school. When the teacher would say exactly, he'd be like,
yes.
What? I also appreciate the shout out, Mike, about fixed income, because my computer is resting on a book, Stocks for the Long Run. So you know me pretty well. But just heard this quote again this morning. Kristen kind of shared this at previous webinars, but this is appropriate, kind of how we're going to go through the numbers here. But far more money has been lost by investors trying to anticipate corrections than lost in corrections themselves. That's from Peter Lynch, and it's going to be appropriate what I share with you here. So just going through like we always do, year-to-date numbers, the Dow Jones temporarily down about 6%, up 13% since 10/12, since October 12th. And that's where I'm going to compare all these numbers from, is October 12th. The S&P 500 temporarily down 15.5%, a 9% gain since October 12th, and back over 4,000. And really, why we always talk about the most important thing is not necessarily being part of the downside, but catching the upside is the most important part, because that's really because of 1 day's return on November 10th, where the market went up about 4 or 5%. So the NASDAQ still temporarily down 28% and a 5% increase since October 12th. The Russell 2000 temporarily down about 18 on the year and a 6% gain since that time frame. The growth portion of small sized companies, about 23% and a 5% gain since that standpoint. The value side temporarily down about 13 and a 7% gain. And where we've seen actually the biggest gainers since that time frame is actually in international and emerging markets, which I've been waiting for about 3 years. So the benefit of rebalancing is that we've been purchasing more of those over the last 2 or 3 years. And international still temporarily down about 16%, but it's a 14% gain in the last 2 months. Emerging markets still temporarily down about 20, but it's a 10% gain since October 12th. So just really interesting to see, and that's why we love rebalancing so much, because it's a disciplined process that we do that ends up scooping up more shares of some of those undervalued categories. Just on the fixed income side that Chris mentioned, we'll just touch on it briefly. It's very close as far as the treasury yields as they were from October 12th. The 1 year is temporarily 4.7%, the 5 year 3.75%, the 10-year 3.57%, and the 30-year 3.56%. And as Chris mentioned, we're starting to see some CD rates for the 12 to 15-month range, a little bit over 4%, sometimes 4.5% in different areas. So it's been extremely interesting to see, in the returns of some of those bond funds. People have been kind of surprised that, oh, I thought I had bonds. That's supposed to be the safe place, right? Where intermediate bond fund might temporarily be up 5%, down 5%. That might be the window of variability, but this year anywhere down from 11 to 20% in that space. So that's why that's been under review for the entire year, and why Mike mentioned that it was time for, we actually had different strategies that when rates went up, they performed better. And now it's time to level those out. So that's where that comes from. And with that, Chris, I'll pass it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Zach. And I think you might know this as well, what time of year when this comes around, what everybody's favorite kind of music is, right? It's rap music. For presents, you know, you've got the Christmas music playing on. I think I really love rap music this time of year. I know we've been doing that recently as well. Thank you, Zach. Well, there's a couple things as well that go along with that. And this is something that I want to bring up too. There is really a Nobel Prize when this market reaches a bottom. There's nobody ringing a bell. There's nobody going, hey, here it is. This is the day. This was it. It was the 13th of October. Better buy now. That doesn't happen. Typically, I want to let you know how it happens. It happens with a day that's slightly less dark than the day before. It's like December 22nd. It's slightly less dark than the day before. That is how markets bottoms. That's how we end up looking back to find out when the beginning of the next bull market was. I think people get this idea that they'll know. The crypto stories will end. Everything will turn positive. You know, the fact that the FTX and this kid who was worth $30 billion is now at bankruptcy and arrested in the Bahamas. That experiment of crypto probably has some legs at some point in time, because human speculation still exists. But as you start to look at some of these things, it's really an interesting time. You know, Howard Marks said something extremely profound. I want you guys to hear this. Howard Marks is somebody who we listen to. He writes some great essays from time to time. But he said, and this is very profound. Listen now. It's very difficult to know which expectations regarding events are already incorporated in securities prices. Wow. Holy cow, that's impressive. I love that statement. We can always use that. I tell you what, I read that and I thought, I'm going to start writing some profound things like that. Hey, nobody knows what's happening next. Maybe they'll quote me. So you can quote me on that one. Nobody knows what's happening next. Anyway, I just wanted to run through that. I thought that was a pretty interesting one as well. Ken, there's some interesting planning ideas here. Why don't you give us some of the ideas for planning and then anticipate some of the things that are going to happen tax so we can do some planning for 2023 before other people know about it.
All right, we'll see what the future holds here. So thank you, Chris. When Chris was talking about team and, no one can succeed without people around them, that is so true for all of you that are listening to this. We don't exist because we wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you guys. And we just want to say thank you very much. Thanks for the introductions you've given over this past year. It truly has been amazing to help more and more of your families. It's really fun to watch this, and we get to know your families. And we just want to say thank you so much for that. We really appreciate that. And without all of you and all of your support that you give us, this isn't possible. So we realize that, we know that this is your hard-earned money, and we really appreciate your trust and confidence along the way here for this whole year and in general. So a couple ideas that I have for some of it's tax is, I've heard a couple good ideas that we've been able to learn from clients and also guide clients is if you're looking for a tax deduction, it's tough when it comes to charitable giving because of the big standard deduction that is offered currently right now. I heard some ways to, if you're giving cash to charities, if you will, trying to double up on charitable giving in 1 year, trying to double up on paying property taxes in 1 year. That way we get closer to that ability to itemize. So this is something you want to run past your accountant, of course, but these are some ideas that I've heard about trying to double up in 1 year to try to get to that point of itemization. So that's also something, as you know, giving cash to charities and churches and to things you feel very passionately about is a tough way to get credit for it and rewarded for that. As you know, QCDs, the qualified charitable distributions, we talk about it every time, and it always comes up. We talk about it, but it makes sense when you actually get to that point in your life. That's when we'll talk about it again as well. So another good one I've talked about in the past is called donor advised funds. That's another way to be rewarded for charitable giving from a tax standpoint. So that's something to keep in mind is if we, if our cash donations don't add up to being rewarded from an itemization standpoint, from a tax standpoint, we do have some options out there. So talk to us about that if you ever want to learn more about, a different way to give maybe than what you're currently doing. So we certainly have some ideas there for you. The last piece here I want to talk about is something we've helped a few clients out with recently, is the idea of long-term care. Where this comes into play is it's a wide range. It's a huge topic. We could probably have 6 or 7 webinars just on long-term care itself. But to make this very simple is that we found out some really neat solutions that you may have already that you own inside of your financial folder, if you will. You may have some old cash value life insurance policies that you had for a certain reason. Maybe, when we were younger, we had, a mortgage that was trying to be protected. We were trying to protect income. We were trying to protect a significant other in case of a premature death. If that didn't happen, now we're in a position where maybe our needs have changed and our focus has changed more towards needing maybe care as we age. And so we have some really neat solutions where we can do some tax-free exchanges from stuff you've owned for a long time into some new solutions, multiply those benefits to really help you try to mitigate the cost of long-term care if that's something that is interesting to you and your family. So if it is, talk to us. We certainly can help you out with those solutions. And with that being said, I just want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you so much for being you. We really appreciate all of you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ken. All right, that's it. No, I'm joking. I'm just messing with you. I like to do that once in a while. As we go through a couple of things at the end of the year too, are capital gains. It still freaks people out. I've had people with me for a very long time. All 26 years of my business, I've actually had people with me. And what's interesting about that is oftentimes this time of year, a capital gain or dividend will be paid out for a mutual fund. They'll be tracking it and they will call us a bit freaked out. What happened to my fund? It's down 17% today. No. What typically happens is the dividend was paid, you get more shares repurchased at a lower price. The whole transaction takes about 3 days, but it does freak a lot of people out. So if you have any questions about that, some of the massive hits that you might see in price, It's dividends, it's capital gains, it's things being paid out towards year end, most of which happen in the month of December. It's why a lot of the taxable money that we receive from you will wait to post record date, post the date that dividends are paid out. So you're not paying capital gains on something for a whole year that you just purchased in December. I wanted to bring that piece up too, because that becomes a bit confusing to people who've been doing a lot of appointments toward the end of the year. And what's interesting to me, and I want to say a strong congratulations. Again, we can't do this without you. What Ken said as well, the introductions have been fantastic this year. We appreciate that. We continue to look to add service to our team and team members in the appropriate place so we can continue to serve you and the introductions that you have. I want to make sure that you understand that we know we cannot do this without you. Matter of fact, this is more interesting. Let me say it this way. Everybody here knows that we do this for you. We spend our entire lives, our entire working lives, looking for ideas to better ourselves, better ideas for you. And we appreciate the fact that you are there and we get to spend that because it gives a lot of our lives meaning. I want to make sure that you understand that you matter tremendously to us. Thank you very, very much for that. A couple of things I also wanted to touch on before I pass it over quick to Ashley, and then I'll say a couple of things. Was looking at integrity. Integrity is a big thing for us too. We look at integrity and people like to wonder about defining it as, do you do what you say? Do you follow a strict moral code, whatever the moral code that you accept may be? And I think it's an important one. You know, and this is a very interesting one, when you've promised something and you haven't come through on it, how do you feel about that? We all feel about the same. We know it. We try to cover it up. And then oftentimes what we try to do is we try to bend our integrity or our moral code to say, yeah, I follow through on my promises, usually. But when somebody asks you about a party, hey, you're going to come to my party? You say, oh, I might. Really what you're saying is, I probably won't. And that's okay. So just look at some of these things when it comes to integrity this time of year and season. A lot of times too, when we go forward with market and the different ideas we have with the market, there's a ton of things that happen here. We want to be straightforward with you. We want to make sure we're following up on our promises. I know from time to time we'll miss one or two, but we really make that a strong focus. What we do here with our team is to make sure we follow through on what we promised to you guys. So I want to thank you for following through on your promise to introduce people to us. Ken said it. I want to make sure that you understand it. We grow because of you. We don't market. We don't go out and spend time on it. We spend all of our time working with and for you. And the unwritten agreement or what's occurred is you are then willing to introduce people to us. That's the best plan in the world. I know people who will spend 25, 35, 50% of their time out marketing. So I want to make sure that you understand that. It's a wonderful bargain. Thank you. We appreciate that from you guys as well. With that, I want to pass it over to Ashley. Ashley, what should we be paying attention to here for the second to last session of the year?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. Keeping with the festive spirit that our team has conveyed over this biweekly update, I would like to share something that Gentian is proud to be partnered with again this year, and that is the Capco Kids to Kids light display, as well as the toys collection that they are doing for kids in need around our community. So if you are local to the area looking for a festive holiday light to walk through this year, please check out the Kids to Kids again with Capco. It is going to be taking place in Grafton, and it begins tonight, which is Wednesday, December the 14th, every night until December the 23rd from 5 to 8 p.m. So again, looking for something early in the evenings to do and get you in the holiday spirit, please check out the toy drive as well as the light display that Capco is displaying in Grafton. Today, we also look forward to celebrating the December birthdays. So our team will be hosting at noon today, those celebrating their December birthday. Speaking of birthdays, we have one of our very own, Angie, who will be celebrating her birthday tomorrow. So a very happy birthday to you, Angie. And Mike Mann will be celebrating 4 years here at Gentian this weekend. So happy 4 years to Mike. We are very thankful and grateful for you each and every day. So thank you, Mike, for being part of our team. And then if you are already looking ahead to your January calendar, there is a January birthday club right around the corner, January the 11th. So the RSVP sheet is in your bulletin, or you can feel free to give us an email, send us an email, or give us a call, and we will happily take your RSVP. Our office will be closed, just as a quick reminder, on December the 26th, which is a Monday. That is when the markets are observing Christmas Day. So again, Monday, December 26th, our office will be closed in light of the market closure. I will turn it back to you all, you, Chris, and have a happy holiday to everyone here joining us today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ashley. Sweet. I got a full 3 minutes to complete here, so I'm going to fill up every minute. I'm just going to make some stuff up if I can't as well. Now, I want to come back to this. Now, what I wanted to also talk about, there's a couple of things we mentioned about everybody being grateful for family. One thing about family that's for sure is that they are probably some of the highest highs in your memory and also some of the lowest lows in how you feel. Wherever you are with family now, we want to give our prayers and wishes to you. We know some of you had some rough events lately. Some of you had some wonderful highs. Cherish who you have, the time you have with them as well. Ask people a few questions. More importantly, let them know around this season how much you appreciate them. Just the fact that they are who they are, whether that's positive or negative. Here's what I have to say. I learned this, I think it was from Stephen Colbert, whose parents were killed in a tragic plane accident when he was around 10 or 12. You have to appreciate everything. It's everything that gets you to where you are. Of course, he didn't care for the event, but the event is part of what made him who he is. You don't really get a chance to just appreciate part of it. You've got to appreciate all of it. And that was an interesting statement to me. It actually struck me as I appreciate the highs and the lows because they do make us who we are. They make us stronger. They make us get through these times. But more importantly, you're there with arrows out to support another member of your family when things may be tough for them. One thing I've always done is no matter who you're looking at, they probably have an issue much bigger than you know that they're dealing with right now. Approach people that way with care. I wanted to bring that one up. Another thing I wanted to come back to, remember as well, when all looks black and there is no light at the end of the tunnel is when the market begins to turn up just a slight bit. Like I'd said before, I want to make sure that you understand this. I think it was even said in Nick Murray's October client corner as well. I think he quoted Jeremy Grant a minute when I remember. But listen, markets don't turn when it looks like, oh, look, the Fed's going to be this. Matter of fact, this is a good part as well. I think it was back in 1982 when I think it was the position of inflation had finally decided that inflation looked like it had broken. Now, when this period comes, who knows when it would be, but around October 13th to November 11th could have been it, or October 13th through now could have been, what it might look like. In August 1982, when inflation broke from the previous time as well, inflation was seen to be dead with its head cut off, stake through its heart, like right now with Christmas Carol, right? Stake the holly through its heart. The equity market doubled in a year and never left a skid mark. So I'm just saying, it's not what people expect. It's not what they're going to prognosticate. It may not even happen, but I want to give you an idea. These things can happen. That's why we stay invested. It's why we don't miss these days. It may be dark for another 6 months. We're not sure, but we want to be there. We're patient. We know this is part. We have to be grateful for this part of the process, as well as when the market hits highs like January of 2021, actually in January of 2022. So the last thing I want to do as well, I want to end with a positive note. And that is, if any of you are looking for some great Christmas watching this year, there's 2 movies I want to recommend. If you have Apple TV Plus, I know that's where this is. It's Spirited. It's a little bit of a take on Christmas Carol. This is all going to be based on Christmas Carol, these next 2. It's quite funny. It's if you like Will Ferrell, it's a little bit Will Ferrell-esque, and there's some pretty funny lines in it as well. If you don't like Will Ferrell, maybe don't watch it. If you do, I would. Number 2, there's a great movie called The Man Who Invented Christmas. It's a tale about the man who invented Christmas, the Christmas Carol. It's about Charles Dickens writing it. Wonderful, wonderful story. It's become one of our family favorites as well. Christopher Plummer, some other great actors are in it as well. But I just wanted to recommend those 2 things for people to watch this holiday season. Of course, watch my movie, Elf. And if you want to see pictures, I'm sure they'll publish those as well. But I think that watching that again this year was quite funny. But with that, I want to say to you, we will see you one more time here at the end of the year, probably the week between Christmas and New Year's, which you'll all be on vacation. So maybe we'll just do a quick hello. Maybe we'll push it into the beginning of the year. But more importantly, thank you for enduring a wonderful year here, if you will. But thank you for making this year a wonderful year. I think the nature of you guys during this kind of correction has been amazing. We really appreciate your mindset. We appreciate your moods coming in. your understanding of markets as well is really, really what makes this a very pleasurable business to be in. It makes it easy for us to continue to work hard to give you a great experience. With that, I want to thank you for signing off. I took an extra minute or two here as well. I appreciate that for you. You have a wonderful holiday season here at Gentian. You know, our retirement program is really to help you plan it, live it, and give it. This is a time of year for giving. We appreciate that. We can help you with any of that. Let us know if you need any assistance as well and how to give best. With that, have a wonderful, wonderful holiday with your family. And we will see you post-holiday, post-mistletoe, post-Christmas cheer, post-eggnog, post-hangover, whatever it is. Enjoy.